Alright, another little project bike, PGO T Rex 150. I think it's 2012, something like that. It's got some issues. It runs, sort of, but the guy's jump starting the starter motor, so probably either he wasn't using the brake bypass thing they got, so either that's not working or he wasn't using it, didn't know it had to do. Something was weird with the carb. He took this like emissions pipe off it. It wouldn't start unless you put the emissions pipe on that outlet on the carb. So there's either something missing there, or one of these vacuum lines to the fuel pump or something is not right. There's some damage to this cap as well, which you reckon maybe the diaphragm was no good, so potentially putting it on there is sucking the needle up because it was revving real high. So this is my first time really looking at it. See if I can sort that starter out first, and then we'll start having a look at that carb. Alright, well that was easy enough. He just wasn't using the brake when he was starting it. Chuck it up on that centre stand and see if I can sort out what the deal is with those vacuum lines. So looking down in here, we've got not too many vacuum lines. Vacuum operated fuel pump, or a petcock rather. So that's the line there going to the inlet manifold. This one here goes to that's the fuel line that goes to the fuel bowl. There's an electric choke, which I know they sometimes die and can cause issues, but I don't think that's the issue here. Our other vacuum line is this like emissions one, I guess, that comes from the valve cover and goes to the inlet, so that's emissions line, right? Now if I take this line off the intake and put it on that, the bike will start, so that can't be right. I'm going to go ahead and pull these screws out. That one's been messed with, this side is broken on the plastic. Pull it out, we'll see if the diaphragm's intact. See if I can find an identification on the carb, so I can either get parts or get something to replace it with. And I think that'll be the main issue with this bike. I noticed the headlight wasn't working, but I think that's something that happens when the engine is running. So I'll just show you how it starts up, and then I'll start pulling it to bits. diaphragm looks alright. It doesn't have any obvious holes in it. But that cap, I think, is the issue. A big crack coming down the side. I don't think it'll be sealing. I might try just quickly JB weld it, and we'll see if that makes any difference. And if it improves at all, I'll go ahead and I'll get a new one of these, or a new carb. Right, carb out. Just test this this petcock vacuum operated, so you can suck on that end, and if fuel starts coming out the other end, then it's good. So plenty of fuel pissing out of that. These were quite loose, so yeah, he's been messing with it. Have a look in here. Don't know, this is loose. Don't know what that bolt there is supposed to be holding on to, but it's not holding on to anything. Yeah, got the carb out. Little Kine pumper carb. So when you twist the throttle, it presses that lever down and it squirts some fuel. It's just so if you go like full throttle all of a sudden, it doesn't lean out. It gives you that little bit extra power so you don't bog. What's that got written? CVM. Tiny little throat on there. Kine CVK. I'll just tip petrol on the engine and clean it off. 46A TAU KT. Right, join me on my floor here. So I had another look at this carb. Figured I was just seeing what the deal was when I was blowing on that that tube there, and it's the carb overflow, isn't it? So when I was blowing on it, it was forcing fuel up to squirt into the, what do you call it, past the needle jet. So I thought, well, that's not operating on the slide at all. So I figured I'd pull the bowl off, have a look at the jets. So that's the idle jet, totally clogged, can't see any daylight through it. And this is the main jet, tiny little main jet. Yeah, same thing, full of shit, totally clogged. So that's why the bike is not running. It seems, I don't know if that pump is working. Yep, pump is working. So that's why I was just starting out for a second, because you could twist it, and if it had a little bit of pressure blowing in the bowl there, it was getting just enough fuel past, I guess it was blowing through the pumper jet there somewhere, getting past that needle anyway, and there was just enough pressure and fuel there to get it to start for a second. So that cap will probably still need to be repaired, but it'll definitely run, I would bet, once we clean that gunk out of there. The rest of the bowl is really clean, so I don't know what that is. Surprised the guy never had the carb off to clean it. Maybe he did. Maybe it was really dirty. There's no telltale signs that it's been cleaned. Usually you can see little brush marks. Yeah. So that's easy. I'll clean those up. I'll soak them in some thinner or something, see if I can get the deposit to loosen up, and I'll get a bit of wire or something in there. Some very fine wire. And I'll dig through my other jets. I don't think I have any that will be suitable. I might have an idle jet that'll work, but yeah, I'll clean those up. And then it's starting to get a bit late now, but tomorrow we'll chuck that back in and see if we can get it going. Alright, we just got that carburetor back in, cleaned the jets out. They were really blocked totally. All the little side holes and stuff were blocked on all the jets, so that'll be why it's not going, I'd say. Ready to try the first startup. Alright, that started up pretty good. Just needed to mess with the idle there to get it to settle down. It'll need a little bit of a tune up, I think. Looks like that auto choke was working. I bench tested that, so I think it'll be good. It's got no fuel in it at the moment, just a little bit of old fuel, so probably not running as good as it should. Everything seemed to be working apart from one of those indicators. Probably got a blown bulb, I'd imagine. And the dash clock. I'm not sure how that's wired up. Maybe it's got a battery by itself. And then some of these plastics you see have been off and not put back on properly. I noticed the petcock has just held on with one bolt off center, so I'll see if I move that back to where it needs to be. Check all those lines have got clamps on them. The paint is generally pretty faded, but I think I'll run a polisher over that and see how that comes up. I've got the one broken mirror, and then I've got the other half of that left hand side mirror to go on. So I think just with a tidy up, check those tyres are right, give it an oil change, give it a clean the air filter and that, and it should be a good little rider.